Hi, this is Stacia, and this is the second video in the Attacking Chess series I'm doing. And this position comes from the book Mating the Castled King. This is early on in the book in chapter 1. And this is a game that actually occurred where white has a devastating attack on the black king, and a very creative one at that. So it's very exciting chess. And seriously, I get so excited just learning about this stuff. This is not how I play chess, but I want to learn and improve and get familiar with the ideas that you find in attacks like this. So that's what we're going to do, is go through this attack very carefully, analyze each move, the threats involved, and learn these ideas and creative ways to both attack and defend. So all right, in this particular game, it is black to move, which you probably figured out. If it was white to move, white would simply play queen h8 checkmate, and this would be a very short video. So, no, it's actually black to move. And so black needs to deal with that threat, right? So how could black do that? Well, there's a couple moves I want to show. But before I do that, I do want to mention that in this position, white is down a piece. Okay, so if the attack fizzles out, white is just going to be down a piece and be losing. So that's one factor that we need to be aware of. And another factor is that you may have noticed that this is opposite colored bishops. And the theme of this attack is that, yeah, opposite colored bishops, a lot of times you think, boring, I'm going to fall asleep, drawn endgames, blah, blah, blah. But many GMs say that in the middle game, opposite colored bishops is actually it just makes the attack more fearsome. Reason being, this guy on G7, this dark square bishop, has no counterpart. So therefore, white is extra strong on the dark squares. And this poor light square bishop, he can insert himself into the defense, but he can never actually guard the dark squares. So for that reason, attacks with opposite colored bishops are more fierce. Okay, so let's get into it. In this position, Ivanchuk, who is the one playing the black pieces, played the move bishop h7, so blocking the threat on h8. This is actually the losing move of the game, even though it looks logical enough to me. And a super GM played it, so it must be decent. But he did miss the computer's defense, which is the move knight g6. So knight g6 does defend against this. Oops. So it does defend. However, let's see. The thing that is great about this move is the fact that it allows the queen to come into the defense of the king. So that's really the point. It defends the threat and allows the queen to come back. So like if bishop f6 now, like threatening this, well, black is going to have queen f8, and the attack's over and we're down a piece. So knight f6 is very strong, and it's actually a very complicated defense. But let's go through with the main line of this game. All right, so bishop h7 was played, and now white has an excellent move here. So if you want to pause your video and see if you can figure it out, go ahead and do so now. Okay, the move here is actually bishop e5. This is brilliant. The point of bishop e5 is that not only does it threaten mate on g7, but it also allows the queen into the f6 square. So the thing that you have to realize here is that black is going to play the defensive move knight f5. That will guard the g7 square. So due to that, if white had played bishop f6, making the threat, knight f5 would occur. This defends the square. And now, okay, we have like queen g5 check, but bishop g6 and the attack's over. So that doesn't work. And what about coming here? Well, now knight f5 is a fork, so that doesn't work as well. What about the other squares? Well, the bishop cannot come here because it's covered by the queen, and b2 is also covered by the queen. So bishop e5 then is the only move that wins. So it has both these threats. Black can play knight f5 now, but now the queen's going to swing into f6. So with bishop e5, it allows this queen maneuver to the e6 square, or I'm sorry, the f6 square, while the other bishop moves did not do that. So now we are threatening mate on h8, so that's a big threat. And the only move is king f8. So king f8. And now white would love to play bishop g7 check still. So let's say g4, attacking the knight who's guarding g7. And now, okay, if black were to make a nothing move here, there's a big threat, right? So basically white would take on g6. And gosh, what do you do as black? I guess take here, and the threat is check, king e7, and this would actually be checkmate. Don't forget about the rook on the d file covering this entire file. And then you've got the queen observing the square, the last square on the 8th rank. So this is checkmate. So since that is the threat, black has to be very careful here. So after g4, we're threatening to, can't really move the knight away. So queen b4 is a move. Okay. And the move given in the book is queen f3. Queen f3 is a very interesting try. So the point of this is that if we were to follow through with our threat now and take the knight, black would play queen g4 check. And sadly, this is a perpetual. So black would get a draw. If you come here, it's just check. Come here, check. King over here, check. Yeah, and this is just, the queen just has too many checks. And this is indeed a perpetual. So due to that, there's one move for white that still wins. And again, this is just an excellent move, not one that I think I would see. So if you'd like to pause your video, please do so now. Yeah, so once you see this, it makes a lot of sense. It defends that exact threat. It's the move h3. Wow. That's the only move that wins here. Not exactly an attacking move, but I think the idea is clear. The threat is too big already, and white is simply defending against queen g4 check. Without that check, there is no perpetual, and white's threats are too strong. So yeah, the computer is not giving any useful moves for black now. It just says rook a to c8, okay? In the book, queen takes h3 is given. That's interesting as well. So let's look at queen takes h3. So now this is threatened again to get the perpetual. But of course, now we can just take the knight. Oh, and that actually doesn't work. That allows queen g4 check. So taking the knight isn't necessary. We actually play here. Queen h8 check. And now, all right, the king cannot come here because this would be checkmate. So the only defensive move now is bishop g8. And whoops, that drops the queen. So there you go. What an interesting attack. I mean, so I think in the actual game, like Ivanchuk just resigns after bishop e5, but this is how it would continue. And he was right to resign for this reason, because bishop e5, knight f5 guarding g7, but the queen still can get in f6, renewing the threat on h8. The king moves to f8. g4, attacking the defender of the g7 square. Now we have this interesting move, queen f3, with the idea of playing queen g4 check for perpetual. White defends the threat with h3, renewing the threat of taking the knight or playing queen h8 check. Yeah, and from here, yeah, I was going to play that, but the queen can take, threatening the perpetual, but it's just too late. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like this is deeper chess than I currently play. So I'm really thankful to have this chance to learn the attacks in this book. And I hope that you're learning something as well. All right, thanks for watching.